So Ghost of Tsushima released earlier this year, and I've been playing it on and off for a bit now. It's pretty cool. Like, it's got all that big open world stuff, it's got all the big comfy woodland vibes, plays and realistically looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, to be honest. Like most open world games these days. The whole game's also got like a really great look, really good use of music and color. It's all pretty great for what is pretty much a by-the-books open world game in 2020. To be honest, I think this is my first Sucker Punch title since like, geez, Sly Cooper 3? Super skipped the whole Infamous saga because, I mean, well, they kind of looked like the definition of forgettable launch title games, but as a whole series. But while saying that, it seems like Sucker Punch hasn't really lost of any of their cool trademarks from the PS2 era. You can still feel the formula going strong here in Ghost. Lots of jumping on rooftops, secret treasures, you know, just gamey-ass vibes. Playing it, however, I started to get a weird sense of deja vu. Like, I had played another game that reminded me of it in a lot of weird little ways that only my brain could do. Ah, yeah, of course, what else would it be? Mini Ninja was a small 2009 stealth action game developed by none other than the big sneaky bald lads themselves, IO Interactive. You know, the dudes responsible for like Hitman, Kane and Lynch, and I guess Mini Ninjas. I picked up the game at the fresh-eyed age of 11, among other titles like New Super Mario Bros. Wii Sports Resort, and Minecraft. Yeah, I get it, I'm baby, but I mean, hey, so is Mini Ninjas. Okay, yeah, it goes without saying, but I get that there is a difference between a ninja and, in the case of Ghost of Tsushima, a samurai. One was more a general name given to the concept of hired mercenaries, while samurai were loyal to their respective emperor or shogunate, etc, etc. So with these two quite differing ideas of Japanese figures, it's interesting to me that these two Western-made titles that focus on Japanese idea of combat and history go about them in such weirdly different ways, both aesthetically and in terms of gameplay. And to be honest, not always for the best. So while Ghost of Tsushima takes place in a very real historical setting of the very real island of Tsushima during a Mongol invasion of the 13th century, Mini Ninjas just sorta, well, it's in Japan, I think. Yeah, the thing is, Mini Ninjas is less of an actual adaptation of Japanese culture and, well, more of a cartoon, which is fine. I mean, it knows what it is. Sort of a weird hodgepodge of Asian ideas that form a slightly offensive, but ultimately just bland depiction of Japan for children to consume. The thing is, though, while Mini Ninjas is a cartoon and it knows it, Ghost of Tsushima, well...
While our game is inspired by a real moment in history, it is absolutely a fictional story, so our island is not like a stone-for-stone recreation of Tsushima. It is a collection of biomes that are meant to impart a feeling of these classic samurai films. So the real target for us was to give players the experience of interacting inside of a classic samurai movie. And so that really is the authenticity target.
No!
What did she say?
Just talking shit!
Yeah, it's weird. In some senses, it's very literally influenced by the long lineage of samurai films produced in the 1950s. Hell, the thing even has a black and white filter mode, flat out called the Kurosawa mode, which, Kurosawa made many other films that used expressive and incredible use of color, but it's just fine. It's fine. So it's clear that, hey, first thing first, this game is a pastiche of samurai films. But it's still a tad iffy when the game is set in a very real place and during a historical event, yet picks and chooses what it wants from said history and injects it with random movie tropes that developers just sorta liked. Sure, cultural inference is very real, and I'm in no way saying that this is like poorly done cultural appropriation or anything, but when your game is about a very real place in history and it's not your own and is instead made by a Western developer, it does raise some eyebrows, especially paired with just how bad the game's actual Japanese dub matches with the character model's speaking patterns. It's really distracting and comes off as really lazy.
Not this.
So there was that Dark Souls and Ghost of Tsushima thumbs up meme that was going around at the time of the release, and after playing both, it doesn't really hold any water. Especially when Dark Souls is like full-on fantasy based on just medieval trappings that doesn't actually blend real-life places. Call it crazy or something, but the famous line of Mr. Squaresoft himself saying fantasy based on reality just doesn't fly here. Anyway. Oh boy, I sure do love being a stealthy ninja. Gonna just sneak up on these lads in the grass here. Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, these games have wildly out of tone gameplay for their respective leads' actual jobs. So like, yeah, I get it, comparing these two games is sort of pointless in a lot of ways, but I do find it really weird that the game about ninjas is a straightforward action game with barely any stealth elements peppered in at all. Made by the goddamn stealth boys. But on the other hand, Ghost of Tsushima has so much stealth, and you play as a samurai. Not that the combat in Ghost of Tsushima is all that deep to begin with, really. I mean, even with the stealth additions, it's perfectly serviceable, but it just has a basic 3-hit combo, and it's all just extended through skill trees. It's fluid, and it's pretty hectic at times once you know what you do and just how much you have at your disposal, but it does tend to get a little stale after the 5th. But my main issue with this gameplay weirdness is about how Ghost of Tsushima, a game inherently both textually and historically about honorable combat, is about a samurai who is forbidden by his code to be stealthy, but in every way, the game itself rewards you for doing so. Jin is kitted out the wazoo with grappling hooks, smoke bombs, kunai, aerial assassinations, and long fucking grass. And even though Jin has this massive arsenal of stealth combat to his advantage, the game's narrative consistently badgers him from doing so due to his code as a samurai. I mean, it would make for a pretty interesting narrative, to be honest, if Jin was, you know, in any way conflicted or discusses the path of being both a samurai or a so-called ghost. But it doesn't help that he's dumb as shit. Poor Jin, got all the fate of this island on his back and not a thought in his brain. Good book though.
Oh yes, Daddy.
Yeah, Jin, well, he's there. He's pretty much just a blank slate, which, I mean, is fine. I'm used to the growing trend of brainless main characters in open world games with good butts. But usually they have at least fun people to bounce off of. Here, well, not to say the cast or script is awful, but I honestly couldn't tell you a single name of Jin's growing gang he amasses throughout the game while he tries to take down the invading forces. Weirdly enough, you actually learn more about the Mongols through their settlements and the game's cultural artifacts than, like, the actual main cast, which seemed a little odd. Wouldn't go as far as to say the cast is like wasted potential or anything, but I mean, after the 18th hour mark, I did start to wonder why I was bothering even saving this island. I mean, apart from all the lovely foxes, of course.
Like, feel-wise, it reminds me of The Witcher more than anything.
It reminds me of money.
Reminds me of Gujin guy.
No, it doesn't. You're
It
a
doesn't.
liar.
That's I'm actually lying then.
Have we ever gotten accurate open world Japan?
No.
No.
This is fucking
And
amazing.
wait, have we ever gotten open world Japan?
No.
And you know what, Wooly? I don't think we really got it this time either. Not quite. At least not in what we expect and understand from a Western design sense of an open world. There have been many iterations of Japan as a setting in both modern day and historical adaptations. From Shenmue to Boku no Natsume, we've seen Japan in semi to fully open visions many times. Hell, even samurai and ninjas have gotten plenty of visually interesting, culturally significant, and historically accurate or inaccurate titles, made all the more interesting by the fact that the developers don't have this weird white man's burden of game development on their hands. Stuff like Onimusha, Tenchu, Sekiro, Sogaki, Bushido Blade, Ninja Gaiden, while not obviously all historically accurate, do have more going on aesthetically and narratively than Ghost of Tsushima. Games like Ghost of Tsushima and by proxy Mini Ninjas both, well, for a lack of a better word, feel a little empty. Ironic phrasing for an open world game, I know, but the characters and themes all come off a little lifeless, essentially just being rendered through multiple layers of influence, from samurai movies to actual historical accuracy. These games come off as trying to appear as respectful as humanly possible, but ultimately coming out a little shallow. Still good games, mind you. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most fluid, polished things I've played all year. And Mini Ninjas, while, you know, admittedly simple, has some cute little set pieces and visual design I really like. So, you know, it's not all bad. I still hold the opinion, though, that these games can't really hold a candle to games set in and about Japan, made by the people who actually live and breathe that culture.
Ah, good.
Hey, thanks for watching as usual. Means the world that some people actually pay attention to the stupid ramblings I have about video games sometimes. This one was rolling around the old noggin for a bit, so I hope something in here made you at least think or smile. Coming up soon, I'm going to do a collab with a good friend of mine, Demenz's Gate, over on his channel. We're talking about frogs and wholesome games, so head on over to him and look out for the eventual part 2 on this channel soon. Hope you're all getting through this hell of a year in one piece. Take care.